Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome back to the Otto Botley August coverage of IDW Publishing's Transformers comics here inside the Pull Bag and also featured on all things Transformers. This is episode 150 of the Pull Bag. I am one of your hosts, TF2 and Mike. Joining me is Ryan the Info Merkley. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Today we can tell folks he is so excited, right? Today we conclude.
Well, I was trying to think of something else to say, and then you picked on me for meowing last time, and so. I don't know.
Today we conclude the Transformers Autocracy trilogy with a discussion of the final part of the series, Primacy, written by Chris Metzen and Flint Dille, with art by Livio Ramondelli. This, folks, is a little different than last time. This is only 4 issues. 4 regular-sized issues, not 4 digital issues, just 4 regular-size. Honestly...
Yeah, it was released as a miniseries. This one wasn't sent out digitally at all.
Yeah. Well, it was. It was just... wasn't a specific digital...
the way that comics are normally sent out, yes. It wasn't like a free digital...
Yeah.
Released in pieces, etc., yeah.
And honestly, I almost like this better. As far as 1, 2, 3, 4 issues instead of 11 or 12 chapters. I love the stories in Autocracy and Monstrosity. But there were times when I was reading those to record the podcast we've already put out that I would have to read like half of the thing. So the first 6 chapters and then come back to it later and read the next 6 because we needed a break.
It makes it a little disjointed when, you kind of skip whenever you've got to stop after 6 or 7 pages to move on to the next chapter, yeah.
So, Primacy. This one was really... I did not expect this to go the way that it went.
Well, it's a third part, and you mentioned Flint Dille talking about it. You know, the first part was the hero's journey, obviously, with Pax and Prime. Second part, obviously, Megatron's journey. Wow.
He's number 00.
I wish I had a Megatron jersey. Anyway, Megatron's journey, and then, part 3, like, the journeys are over for them, so I guess you're just kind of tying up loose ends.
I sort of felt like it was like, okay, this is how we got Optimus Prime. This is how Megatron changed from gladiator / revolutionary, trying to make not necessarily peace through tyranny. At this point now, he is peace through tyranny. He wasn't before. He was different before. And now, at this point, he has changed. And the way I see this is, it's the war. That's the way I saw this, this is the 4 million year old war. This is one part of it, I guess, or Flint Dille and Chris Metzen's version of it, which is fine to me, because how often have we said this, any of us Transformers fans? The G1 cartoon kind of was and wasn't the war. We got various, episodes showing different parts of the Cybertronian war on Cybertron, but most of that is on Earth. Most of that is Megatron on Earth trying to get back to Cybertron and things like that. This here, what I love about this entire series, they don't go to Earth at all.
Yeah, that's one of the things that made RID good in that first run as well. I just stop going to Earth.
Leave us alone, you damn aliens.
It happens in like every series. Anyway.
Yep.
So we pick up not long after. You were talking about previously, you were hoping Hot Rod shows up. Well, that didn't take long. One thing I think is funny, so Slinger, who gives Hot Rod shit for killing everybody in the city.
Killing everybody, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that told Hot Rod to do it in the Autocracy. So, oops. Oh well. Maybe he's just got a really bad memory, or he got hit on the head in that fight. But that was That was kind of funny. Prime is on a journey, I guess, to go see something significant with Ironhide in the cold.
Oh, yeah. Very, very significant. Because, honestly, since we've been doing these, what I have looked forward to, not only is Chris and Flint's story, which is, I find all three of them really, really good. Some are better than others, but I enjoy the overall continuity. And plus, like I've said before in the last 2 episodes of the podcast, it's Flint friggin' Dilly. I mean, he worked on the cartoon series. So for me, all as I really care about to enjoy, besides the story and the art itself, is what am I going to see? What characters are going to pop up? And I was not expecting at all to see the character that pops up.
You just say it's Omega Supreme. It's like one note before what I'm going to get to. So, next we find out the Grimlock and the Dinobots have been fixed. Again, sort of another logical step. Megatron discovers that Penitus has some sort of hold / is Trypticon, which is fairly important later on, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, and then Prime and Ironhide meet Omega Supreme. Or sorry, an Omega Sentinel, but we all know it's Omega Supreme.
It's Omega Supreme. I mean, because as soon as he turns around, I mean, hell, as soon as we get to the panel where Optimus says it's standing watch, and then Ironhide says, Optimus, take a closer look. I recognize it, Ironhide. And we get the full shot of Omega. And we all know. We don't even need him to say his name. We know what his name is, because not many Omega Sentinels looked like Omega Supreme. I don't remember some of the other Sentinels having yellow and red on them. Most of them were like blue and gray and some other stuff. So, but I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got some more minor, I'm not going to complain too much about it, continuity issues with this, because Optimus isn't supposed to know Nova Prime was evil at this point. He's not supposed to learn it until Omega tells him, but that happens in Spotlight Optimus Prime. So that's a ways off. But anyway, that conversation's also in the 3rd issue.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, Megs has another chat with Trypticon. Scorp in a bit too. He mentions that Scorponok had a lot of defectors, probably because, as I pointed out in Monstrosity, he was a crappy leader who beat the crap out of his own followers. That's not good incentive.
Yeah, very true.
Their benefit plan must have been really good. I mean, to keep anybody. I hope they got dental. So, the Autobots, Skylynx, carrying Grimlock, Hot Rod, and some of the other Autobots, go to check out where Trypticon is. They're amazed that he's missing. Dun dun dun. And of course, Trypticon is in his city mode, which hasn't been used since. Hasn't been used in a while. Since like G1. I can't remember. Trypticon's appeared in other Transformers series since then, but I don't remember him being able to be a city. Maybe I'm crazy.
I mean, I think just really quickly talking about the art, I think I haven't caught up to you yet, but my favorite thing. No, it's alright. My favorite thing that Livio has done here is when Megatron is asking Trypticon what happened, how did you become this way, and we get the flashback of Trypticon walking across, this primordial landscape.
Yeah.
The orange sky, the red ground, the fact that Trypticon is all orange and I love that part of the page in the panel. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, the Trypticon flashbacks are really good art, and I kind of wish he would play with some more of the brighter colors like that more often.
Yeah.
This sort of always shrouded in darkness, this sort of dull Zack Snyder-esque color palette.
Please, do not compare Livio Ramondelli to Hack Snyder. Please stop.
I just said they have the same color palette. Jeez.
But yeah, I love the way his quintessons look. The fact of the Sharkticons and all that. But yeah, you're right. The city mode is awesome. I wish they would use city modes more.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, we see Metroplex a fair amount in mostly until All Are One and Windblade, actually. Because, I mean, Robots in Disguise, they go back to my favorite planet yet again very quickly. But, yeah. I mean, there are these gigantic city for Transformers, not even city for humans.
Yeah.
Sized cities, which, that's large.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute, okay? So, no, it's not a bad thing. Do you want? Well, you've said this before. So, you live in Ottawa, right, in Canada?
Yes.
Do you want Hot Rod or Galvatron or Megatron or Optimus or Nightbeat or anybody to walk down the street right next to your apartment and be able to look in your window? I mean, come on.
Not right now because I'm not wearing any pants, but still.
No pants podcasting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on from that. But I'm saying, like, them having their own cities for themselves, I like that. Because, again, it's their own culture. Cybertron is their own planet. Why wouldn't they have their own cities that can transform into gigantic titans?
But to be fair, I think overall, too, the Transformers series, especially IDW's, has worked better when they're not on Earth. Now, part of that, too, is the fact that the human characters
suck
in the IDW, are not good. Which is
I'm sorry,
really
John.
Frustrating.
I'm sorry, John, but...
No, they're not his fault.
I know.
He, and I'm not trying to bag on Costa again either, because I don't enjoy doing that either, but... Yeah, I mean, Spike was pretty much ruined in that initial run, and there's no fixing him. But anyway, I'm getting really off topic.
It's okay, we're having a fun time.
Let's get to something way more fun, and that is, I really liked this issue. The second issue, I should specify here. Okay. The second issue I really enjoyed, just because there's the whole band getting back together aspect, but it's the Decepticons. I liked that. They, use Thundercracker to go find the Stunicons. They find the Predacons about to, kill each other. They go get the Combaticons who are about to kill Swindle. I really liked these scenes, and I don't know, it was a lot of fun to just kind of move around. We don't even see the Autobots for, a little bit.
Most of the second issue is all the Decepticons. With the first issue, the last little bits I want to get out of my system here for my notes. What do you think about Grimlock and Hot Rod? Grimlock essentially taking over the cup role here.
And not really getting along. I should have mentioned that. It started midway through the first issue, and then at the back end of the first issue as well, they argue some more.
I think that is so cool. My favorite shot from issue 1 has got to be the closing panel of Trypticon leaving Cybertron. Oh, that's so good. Love that. The second issue, all of my notes for the second issue are basically Stunicons, Combaticons, Predacons, and Astrotrain takes them all home.
Basically, I mean, there's not a lot else that happens here. The Autobots, continue to look for... Omega Supreme's not really getting along with people, and then meanwhile, they continue to look for Trypticon, and then find him at the end of the issue, and then Trypticon slams into Metroplex.
Yeah. So, I think the reason why, and I don't like Primacy more than Autocracy or Monstrosity, but I think the reason why I'm really digging Primacy is the fact that it reminds me so much of the G1 cartoon, but as if it was mashed up into one giant movie outside of the movie we already got. Because look at all of these characters. Omega Supreme. I mean, the only thing that's missing with Omega Supreme is the friggin' Constructicons. You know, that's really the only thing missing. Like, you know, a reference to Crystal City and all of that. But, you know,
at least we didn't get a reference to the Robo Smasher. That was,
yeah.
I hated that thing.
I know. You know, Starscream and the Seekers going after the you know, all the combiner groups and all of that, and then we end up, you know, kind of season 3-ish with, well, maybe they fought in season 2. When did we get Trypticon in the cartoon? I know I should know
Season 3.
this. Okay, yeah, I figured that's when.
Neither of them appeared until season 3.
Oh,
unless you go with the Scramble City, which was set before the movie in Japan, and then it's on the DVD. But anyway, so
yeah, anyway, so so I was right. So by season 3 is when we usually have a couple of episodes in there where you have Metroplex and Trypticon fighting. Well, like you said, the second issue ends with Metroplex and Trypticon starting to fight. And damn.
Issue 3 opens with Metroplex giving Trypticon a fucking curb stomp. That probably hurt. I gotta say, I have two sort of minor disappointments in this issue, though. Mm-hmm. And one is Trypticon doesn't really put in a great showing here. I mean, he gets his ass whooped by Metroplex pretty bad. Yeah. And I mean, Quintesson ship, which, by the way, I'm not real clear. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be Penitus's ship that's been repaired. I know it's what the Junkions are on, but I mean, it's a Quintesson ship, so...
Well, okay, so...
I'm just curious where they got it, considering the Quintessons don't really exist in the IDW universe up until this trilogy. Yeah. There was a shot of a drawing in a cave on a planet Wheelie was on, in Spotlight Wheelie, Spada's favorite issue, but but aside from that, they haven't appeared much. It was just, I don't know, anyway. And then
I have a theory about this.
Oh, jeez.
Well, in the movie, we all know, Skip Scare ship over there, and that's, really pointing out the ship on Quintessa to Hot Rod. I think the only reason why it's a Quintesson ship in this trade is a reference to that scene in the movie. That's really the only reason why they're... Because, again, this is...
I figured it was because they needed something to hurt Metroplex.
Well, they did put the screws to him. I don't know.
And then my other disappointment is when Megatron is talking about how he keeps the Decepticons in line, the Fear line appears above Shockwave.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the one dude who's like not remotely afraid of any of the Transformers or Megatron. Yeah. I mean, he mouthed off to Overlord. Shockwave not really afraid of anything. Actually, he also probably can't really feel fear, but that's another story. Whatever. Those are all minor, though.
I mean, maybe, okay, yes, Shockwave is super logical. We know this. He doesn't really do emotions at all, obviously, but maybe it means something to the effect of...
I think it was meant to refer to the other troops. It just happened to be the panel Shockwave that had ended.
Well, I mean,
not a big deal. Just
I mean, with Soundwave, it's kind of true. Blind obedience. I mean, very rarely does Soundwave ever question Megatron.
Yeah, but he's also not really afraid of him either.
No.
I mean, Soundwave follows him because he saw his pets, quote unquote, as actual sentient beings, whereas nobody else did.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, which, by the way, brings to mind, shouldn't Soundwave not be cool with Megatron using the Sharkticons as cannon fodder? Anyway, whatever, I'm getting off track. Speaking of the Sharkticons as well, doesn't this also create a problem with the most recent Optimus Prime storyline? where the Sharkticons attack the Autobots on Earth.
Yeah,
Whatever. Anyway.
I'm not. I've said this before. I have yet to catch up on current IDW stuff, so.
Trust me, that happens.
I'm not trusting you, so.
And they munch on 4 Cosmos. So.
Oh God. The Grimlock wants to munch metal.
No, Grimlock is still pretty much lobotomized. So. Megatron has his big ploy here. They spear a Metroplex with the ship, which pretty much downs him. However, Metroplex had downed Trypticon already. So anyway, the Decepticons then have the Sharkticons pour out, and they sort of go to town on the 4 Autobots at this point.
The 4 Autobots.
Anyway, but eventually the Autobots wear the Sharkticons out, and the actual Decepticons start coming out at this point. Optimus talks to Omega Supreme. This is the portion that I referenced earlier, that Omega was disillusioned with the Primes, but he sees something different in Optimus. So he decides eventually that he'll fight for them, although it's a little late because the Decepticons just absolutely maul the shit out of them by putting together all of their firepower at once. And then Megatron hears Penitus in his own head, who apparently has some sort of dominion over not just Trypticon, but Megatron as well.
Okay, let me ask you, did this feel like Beast Wars at all to you a little bit at this point?
In what way?
Megatron and Rampage.
Oh, about them controlling the spark? No.
Okay. Because that's the first thing I thought of, honestly, was, oh, okay. Oh. Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, we pick up issue 4. They continue sort of fighting. Grimlock gets to save Hot Rod after he downs Blackwell?
Yeah, Blackwell.
Yes, who apparently was a nemesis of his in the pit fighting days. Megatron, previous to this, though, wandered off to go see Trypticon. And we discovered that Omega Supreme and the other Autobots were okay thanks to Trailbreaker's force field, which, man, the Decepticons really got to get one of those. Or just figure out that he's got it and stop getting fooled by it. But anyway, the Predacons get downed by Hot Rod and Grimlock and the Dinobots. Megatron gets to Trypticon. He and Prime have a nice little chat. Optimus opens the Matrix to eradicate the whatever pieces of Penitus are in him, and presumably Trypticon.
Yeah.
And then Optimus punches him out, and that's kind of where Megatron gets imprisoned. Optimus has a speech to everybody and, dedicates that he's going to, stick with the Autobot cause, etc., etc. So Cybertron jails, by the way, prescribed to the Arkham Asylum method of keeping prisoners in it, because we know Megatron gets out pretty damn soon, so...
Yeah, obviously. I think my favorite panels out of issue 4, at least for Optimus and Megatron, is the one where it's where Megatron is saying, "You damn fool, can't you see what's happening all around you? This is our fate, violence and strife until the stars burn cold. Not while I still function. Help me stop this, Megatron, or our story doesn't have to end this way." This part of the panel is Optimus with his energy axe, and Livio did an amazing job, and he's got his rifle in his left hand. And then the next part of the panel is Megatron with the mace. So awesome. Absolutely love that.
So the artwork again, and the entire run of the 3 full-on stories are really, really good. The artwork is solid. The issues are fun, and it's same with this one. I mean, again, if you think too hard about some of the stuff I mentioned, and some of the other characterizations are a bit off, but
I think
I don't
know.
know.
You mentioned
Again,
earlier about continuity. You mentioned earlier about continuity, and I think my problem, kind of, we see Swerve and Rum. I mean, I don't mind seeing them, but that was a little weird for me seeing Swerve and Rum, because that was before Hot Rod became Rodimus and all of that. So, go ahead.
I don't know. I was listening to you.
I don't know. Doesn't that seem weird to you, seeing More Than Meets the Eye characters here?
No, because I mean, I first saw them. I shouldn't say I first saw them. I did comics. I did the IDW stuff in somewhat reverse order, oddly enough. But I've seen Livio draw them before.
Okay.
In Chaos, the 7th and final volume of Mike Costa's run. So, I mean, it's not super jarring or anything to see them here. We knew they exist. They also, or Rung at least, appears in the past trade that I believe is part of, or past trade, the past story that I believe is part of Police Action, which was Roberts's, which is Roberts's first writing stuff in IDW, I believe. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, so didn't surprise me too much, but
well, I read it all backwards, so I figured, okay, cool. I mean, I thought it was cool that we saw them. I didn't have a problem with them, and I think Livio draws them very well. I just was not expecting to see anybody from The Lost Light. In the trade, in the back of this, they've got various covers from various artists. I think my favorite one is by Ken Christensen, which is Megatron and the Decepticons and Optimus and the Autobots and Spike and Sparkplug and Carly and the Ark. I think that's a really great cover. The one where Grimlock is on fire, which is by Well, he's not on fire. His sword's on fire and he's jumping up in the air. I think that's a cool one. I really dug this. I thought this was so fun.
Why are you trying to set poor Grimlock on fire? Hasn't he suffered enough?
Need Grimlock, need new brain.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the effect of all of the continuity stuff bogging down at this point in certain respects with what's running currently. Mm-hmm. Or not, but yeah, this was just kind of fun. It's a fun diversion. I think if you consider it in that way, you'll enjoy it that much more.
Yeah. Well, again, I think the reason why Primacy was so fun was because we already had this, and I'm not saying Primacy was not a story builder. It is, but we already had the 2 story builders in Autocracy and Monstrosity. We had because the penultimate fight here is Optimus and Megatron. I mean, that's really what it is. At the end of Primacy here, we had the fight between Metroplex and Trypticon. What I think, and I could be wrong, and Flint can correct me, and Chris can correct me, and everybody can correct me if they want to, I think they wanted to give us a true, full-on character show-off story of what G1 was, except in the IDW landscape of a story. And yes, this is the 3rd part of the 2 previous stories, and it does continue. I think it's a really damn good told story. By itself, even if anybody hadn't read the first 2, which you should, folks, I honestly have no complaints about this at all. Like I said, I was a little off with seeing Rung and Swerve, but that was only because I was caught off guard. I'm not going to take a point off for that because, okay, sure, they're there. I mean, if I could have said something about old McAdams at the beginning of the thing, but I didn't. Well, I did now. But, yeah, and I just think that they wanted this to be a fun kind of not necessarily need to tie up the loose ends kind of thing, because there really are no loose ends. After reading this, all three of these traits are a full, complete story. You don't need to go do a prequel series. You don't need to do if you want to do a sequel series, cool, great, sure, but you don't have to. This is a complete story from Autocracy through Monstrosity and ending with Primacy, and I just love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said before, I think it's enjoyable.
You think it's enjoyable, so what were the things that you didn't like about it then?
Well, again, same stuff I've already said my piece. I mean, there's continuity issues if you want to look for them or care about them. I think it's problematic to have it for sure part of the IDW universe. Now, having said that, I mean, some of the stuff's happened post or because of stories that have taken place after this. Yeah. This was written, or rather Autocracy was written way back when Chaos Theory was just being finished up.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff isn't anyone's fault. It's just things changed since then or during that time. So again, I'm not going to worry or get too annoyed about it.
The one thing I noticed about Primacy, I think Flint got all of his movie lines that he wanted out in the comic in Autocracy and Monstrosity, because I didn't notice a lot of... There are some variations on movie lines, but again, like I said earlier, I think Primacy is more meant to make us reminisce on the TV series more so. And obviously Hot Rod wasn't. I mean, he was in season 3, but obviously not the... Because most of these characters, you look at Omega Supreme and Starscream and a lot of the other combiner teams, those are all like season 2 kind of stuff. So, but I had no preconceived notions going into these 3 trades that we've talked about in the last 3 weeks. I went into them fresh, and it surprised the hell out of me with how much G1 goodness is in this. And I just absolutely love it. I think it's great. I know Flint said that there were other things in Monstrosity that he had wanted to do. He had other cool ideas, so maybe down the line, they'll do something else with whatever cool ideas that they couldn't do back then. So who knows? Interesting note, I have not confirmed this yet, but we may be getting an interview with Livio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then we can interview whoever just texted me. Yeah, at 10 after 10. What the hell, people?
Damn it, Andrew, stop it. All right, so forgive that interruption here, folks. What are you going to rate Primacy 0 to 5?
I think another solid sort of 3.5. Again, it's enjoyable. I have some issues with it, but it's fun.
I look at these 3 trades and I look at all of it, and I think it's... Yes, I understand your qualms about the continuity issues and all that, but I look at these as separate from that. And Primacy, for me, gets a 4. I really do dig it. I think it's great. I know artists are supposed to get better with time, and I know when we did Autobotly April, we both had a couple of issues with Livio's art in some of the stuff with that we did, but honestly, this might be the best art I've seen from him. These 3.
Oh, I definitely think it is. I think that the characters, part of it too, I think, is the color palette of the characters. You look at, in Combiner Wars, he had to do the teams, obviously, and when they merge together, they all have sort of a similar color palette to a certain extent. And unfortunately, I mean, I said it before, I mean, Livio has a tendency to go with darker versions and darker coloring on all of those, so it ends up kind of dulling it all out, if that makes sense. And so
it does make sense, yeah.
And so it was harder to tell, what's going on for everybody. And yeah, some of the panels just weren't clear in that too of exactly what was happening. So,
Absolutely. Where can the people find you online, sir?
at Nightbeat on Twitter.
I am at TFG and Mike on Twitter. You can follow at The Pullbag on Twitter. Follow at Geekcast Radio for all the other network updates. Join us next week when Lady of Rec joins us. Amy will be joining Ryan and I to talk about Sins of the Wreckers. So that's what's coming next week. And then after that, Ryan and I are going to come back and talk about Angry Birds Transformers. Yay! Make your greatest game in the comics, and we will catch you next time here inside the Pullbag.
You've just heard the latest episode of the Pullbag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.